Creating of Uncle Tom is basically my story that I don't have control over. You know, I didn't ask to be where I was, but I was placed where I was supposed to be placed. I have a bit of a different view on life. Like with with the way people even view race and love and like certain divisions that we have, I don't I don't see what others see. So, obviously when I was born, I my mom left me in the hospital. There's several reasons of why she did that, but I there's really no point in me um sitting there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's speculations from everybody. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I was left in the hospital. I was put up for adoption. When I was put up through adoption, I was in several foster homes, and by the time I was 13 months, I was adopted. Um, they were white people. So this is 1981. I'm just like a month over one. So she had me when I was a baby. Um, so as you can imagine, my first love was a white person. When I needed something, if I needed comfort, if I needed held. So I was in a house with Asians, blacks, and whites all under one roof. Um, it was it was my younger years. I really enjoyed it. A lot of my older brothers, they were Asian. They definitely spent time with us. And I'm brought up. We're in the woods. Creeks, woods. I didn't grow up in the inner city. I went to a all white school, but just my beginning years though, like even forget the school part, even my beginning years, I had a lot of questions. I would look around because where we lived, it's pretty much all white people, and then there was us, and there's 24 of us. So it when you go out in the world, I mean, it's not that hard to tell. Like, well, what, why am I this skin color? Why are all them? Why is everyone else this skin color? It doesn't take very long for you to know that as they're bringing in kids, that you're adopted. I wasn't like I just woke up one day. Oh, I didn't know that you was my, you know, wasn't my mom. But from what I remember, was a very tight knit. When I was a baby, I remember I was very, very close to my dad. I loved my dad. I think he was the best human being out there. I remember waiting for him to come home. I remember running back and forth on the couch. My mom would just hold me. He would come home and they would like let me stay up late. So it always came off like it was just our little family. So it'd just be my mom, me, and my dad. And I mean, I loved him. I loved her. I loved him. And this is when I was a very, very young child. I slept in the room with him. Literally, to me at that moment, they were the best parents, right? I had what 10 black brothers and 10 or 11 Koreans. Um, and they had a little bit of everything, you know? The difference between me and a lot of my brothers, I didn't come from a situation where I was abused, not that I know of. You know, I was very young. A lot of my other brothers that came later, they'd already went through situations. They were already traumatized, um, hurt, and so I didn't have at that moment the same anger as them. As I grew a little older, um, I started to ask questions, just like, why did my mom want me? What happened? Because as I was getting older, you see families, you see people that look like people, and then there's just us, right? And you want to think in your mind that it's not fair, but I mean, what's fair? You know, I can only see through my lens, so that's basically the way that I viewed it. So I asked my mom, like, hey, I'm probably about 6, 7. First of all, I asked her, when do I turn white? Like, why are we black? And she just, black is beautiful, black is beautiful. And she would tell me that throughout, my whole life. Definitely when I was younger. She really pushed for us to be very, very proud of what we are. And it wasn't that I wasn't proud, I just didn't understand. And then I also asked, what can you tell me anything about my birth parents? And I know that this probably was really hard on her for me asking this question, but I needed to know. But her answer and the way she answered, I think, haunted me in a way where I couldn't just enjoy where I was at. She was like, she was just young, she was in college. I'm sure she loved you, but she couldn't afford you. So she didn't say anything negative or wrong. So I'm like, well, then they're probably going to come back and get me. So in my little mind, I'm thinking, well, when they get some money, they're going to come back and get me. You know, that never happened, but that really stuck with me. As we went to school, I'm not sure how I viewed life prior to that, but that's really when you hear some racial slurs. Now, at this time, you have friends. I have friends. They're white. So there's some white people that don't like black people. There's some white people that love black people. My parents are white. So I wasn't able to just say white people are bad or white people aren't bad. I literally had to look at people individually. And I even think nowadays we try to box everyone in when everyone's so different. One time, someone was like, what's it like to live with people that used to own you? And then I'm looking back into my parents' history, and they came from Germany in the 1950s. A lot of people came, like, they weren't here during slavery times. I think it's like a myth that some people just think that all people, all the white people in this country were here during slavery. It's very strange. So I mean, I don't look at it like that. Also, there's a lot of expectations that when someone sees a black person, what I think that they have something in their mind of what they should be or are, and if they're not, you get pushed out. You Uncle Tom. If I'm not out here saying white people are breaking me down, you're just like, why are you sticking up for the white man? And just like, these are individual people. They might happen to be white, some of them talk about, but I don't look at people like that. I can't. I don't know that I can look in the mirror and say certain stuff without like feeling bad because I know for a fact that they're wrong. I think, I went to school where there is all kinds of different types of white people. And it's crazy how people just lump them all into one. There's like farmers, there's like preppy kids, there's poor kids, there's rich kids, there's nerdy kids, so there's just so many different types. But as a black man, unless I play into a stereotype, then I'm just an Uncle Tom. I feel no need in living my life and that you be able to look at me and know what I like to eat, what I like to wear, what I like to watch, what I like to drive. To me, that sounds crazy. But I mean, again, everyone, views stuff differently. But on either side, people are wrong. People are wrong. Having having white parents that comfort you when if say you meet someone mean, you don't view people through the lens of color. I cannot look at I can't look at people through the lens of color. Like I think, you know, differences are is what makes everything beautiful. I think we spend way too much time looking at all our differences versus all the things that actually we have in common. And honestly, I don't think that our differences is as big as what people make it out to be. Now, where we see differences is in the way people are raised or where they are from. If I'm from, if I grew up in the city, I would be completely different. Um, and it's almost as if when I talk to people, right? Check this out. When I talk to people and they're talking about color and all the differences, and I'm like, I grew up here and I turned out to be this way. They don't understand why I wouldn't turn out like them. And so my comeback, or the only comeback, logical comeback, would be then there's no point to fight for any equality or any injustices. Because if I'm telling you that if your circumstances of environment would make you different, and you're saying, no, 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 but I should be the same, then what's the point? What would be the point? Then we might as well stay segregated. Of course, if you have a different environment, you will have a different outcome. Color blindness to me is that I'm not going to look at you and start placing labels all over you. I just look at you as an individual. Yes, you can look at the way someone dresses and kind of tell some things. You can get information from, the way they walk, talk. That's one thing. But we are all literally individual people. And if you're not placing them labels and boxes on people, then I think you'd get a lot more out of life, but that's just me. Um, there was this guy. I got my kids are mixed. Their mom is white, right? And we, live in the suburbs. We, I don't go out of my way to try to teach them slang. I guess I don't know the word ebonics, whatever the word is. And He goes, he talks like a white kid. He talks so respectful. Now, this is a CEO of a major company where I live. I teach soccer, or I'm a soccer coach. Now, I don't think that he said it disrespectfully, but I don't know that he kind of understands how weird that sounds in a sense that how is he supposed to talk? I believe that some people think that black people automatically, when they're born, will literally talk with Ebonics. And that blows my mind. That it's to me it's crazy. But everyone looks at stuff differently, I guess. But just with that, and that was just like that just happened, and throughout my whole life, I would make sure that I wouldn't try to carry myself something that I'm not. And what I mean by something that I'm not is I'm just a product of my environment. This is how we talked in my environment. If I try to carry myself like I'm from the inner city, you gonna see it. You would act. It's not authentic. You're just gonna look at it like, what is this guy trying to do, right? So I think that more people just need to be around different people. At least just talk, because in a sense, it's like it's out of hand. Like for what? Why are we so obsessed with the color thing? I mean, that's just my thoughts on color blindness.